I killed a man 12 years ago by accident. When I finally landed my dream job, my boss pulled me aside, and I finally understood why they really hired me. I was driving a forklift for a construction company, headed down a small hill when the brakes gave out. I pumped them twice, felt nothing, and watched the worst moment of my life happen in slow motion. The sound of impact is something I still hear when it gets too quiet. My coworker was 43 with 2 kids. I was 23 and covered in his blood while paramedics held me down and told me to stop screaming. The brakes had been reported broken twice. Corporate denied repairs both times to save money. But when investigators showed up, guess whose name was on the incident report? Not the executives, not the maintenance manager who ignored my requests. Mine. My court-appointed lawyer looked half asleep during my trial. The company's lawyers had binders full of evidence proving I was negligent. I sat there watching my entire future disappear. Then the sheriff who was first on scene took the stand. He looked at the judge and said, "This boy did everything right. The corporation is setting him up to take the fall, and we all know it." I got 10 years instead of 25. I was still going to prison for something that wasn't my fault, but at least I had a chance. Prison gave me 2 choices: waste time or use it. I chose use it. First year, I got my GED. Second year, I started college classes by mail. Other inmates thought I was crazy, staying up until 2 a.m., filling notebook after notebook with plans for a life nobody believed I'd ever have. But by the end of my time served, I had a degree in business and a master's in accounting. I saved every dollar from prison jobs and spent practically every penny on one Navy suit. The job interviews were brutal. Most hiring managers stopped listening the second they saw the 10-year gap. One guy literally laughed and said, "We don't hire your kind." However, I kept going. During one interview, the HR guy looked bored and barely glanced at my resume. Then a woman in an expensive blazer walked in. "Hi, I'll be taking over your interview now. You can call me Rebecca. I'm VP of Operations." She actually reads my transcripts and asked real questions. 2 days later, I had the job. I was a senior accountant with a salary that made me dizzy. For 3 months, everything was perfect. I paid rent 3 months in advance just because I could. Coworkers invited me to lunch like I was one of them. Then Rebecca cornered me in the break room. She leaned close and whispered, "I know you killed someone." My hands went cold. The coffee mug slipped an inch before I caught it. She noticed and smiled. "Relax. I'm not going to tell anyone, but you can open up to me. I understand what you've been through." I stared at her. I'd rather not talk about it. Her smile disappeared. She walked away without another word. Prison taught me one thing. When someone says they won't snitch, they're usually planning something. So that night, I downloaded a recording app on my phone. 2 weeks later, Rebecca calls me into her office. She locks the door and closes the blinds. "I have a business proposition," she says. "There's someone causing problems for this company. I need them handled permanently." I stare at her. "Handled how?" She tilts her head like I'm stupid. "You've killed before. I need you to do it again." I blink, hoping she'll take my pause as a chance to say she's joking. She doesn't, so I tell her, "That was a horrible accident." She rolls her eyes. "Oh please, you survived prison. You know how to keep your mouth shut. You've proven you can live with blood on your hands." Everything clicks at once. "That's why you took over my interview," I say slowly. "That's why my salary is so high. You were never impressed by my degrees." She frowns. "You didn't think?" Panic forms on Rebecca's face as she slowly realizes her mistake. I know firsthand what happens when a corporation wants to keep secrets, so I force myself to breathe. "I didn't think anything. You're absolutely right. So, who's the target?" She takes a breath before saying, "A board member. Details later." I take a small step back. I need time to think about this, of course. Rebecca goes back to her computer as if nothing happened. "Take the weekend, but remember, your entire future here depends on this decision." I nod, keep my face calm, and walk out with my phone still recording in my pocket. That weekend, I walked into the police station with my recording. Monday morning, 2 detectives walked into our lobby. Rebecca was getting coffee when they put her in handcuffs. The CEO called me into his office that afternoon, terrified I'd sue. I sat across from him and said, "I just want to keep my job. I earned this position." He agreed before I finished the sentence.